everyone, welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Ryan and today's video is another episode of Fix Your Wix, the series where we take one of our subscribers' websites and we redesign the homepage for fun and educational purposes. Now, if you would like to participate in a future episode of this series, there's going to be a link in the description to a form that you can fill out. But for today's video, we are going to be redesigning the homepage for Sam's Ristorante. It is an Italian restaurant in the US. And you can tell it's a very family-owned, really nice restaurant. But I thought it would be really cool to redesign it in a really cool modern way, as you can see just like this. But let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I did was actually come over to site design, and I chose a page background. Now I went to images, and I looked up dots in the patterns from Media from Wix, and I chose this one right here called recycled paper. And then in the settings, I lowered this opacity to 16%, and we have this really nice background that is slightly textured. Now what I want to do is go ahead and give us some room to work with. I'm gonna set the section to about 1000 pixels. Then what I want to do is add a strip inside of it. So we're gonna go to add strip. We're gonna add this one just like this. In the strip background settings, I'm just going to remove the background color completely because we want our texture to show. Then what I want to do is bring this all the way to the top. Then what I want to do is send the strip to the top. And what I'm gonna do is set the height to be like 900 pixels. In the layout settings for the strip, I'm going to go ahead and align the content to the right. So that what that's going to basically do is shift these grid lines so that I can place content over here rather than in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And you'll notice that the grid line now shifted. So I can't put content over here, but I can put content over here. Now what I want to do now is add an image. So we're going to come over to add, we'll do image, and what I want to do is find free images from Wix. I'm gonna just type in Italian and then look for a dish. Maybe we can choose something like this pasta dish right here. And in the crop settings for this, I want to choose a shape. So I'm gonna choose the circle one right here and go ahead and press apply. And I want to attach this to the strip we created. So I'm going to place this one pretty much over here. Then what I want to do is duplicate this. Then we'll bring this one over here. We'll resize it quite a bit. Then we'll move this image right about here and we can go ahead and change it out real quick. Great. Now what I want to do is kind of copy this strip. We'll select the section and press paste. Now what this is gonna do is basically create two copies of this, but for the second one, what I want to do is press layout and we'll send it to the left. So now our content is over here on the left. And what I want to do is kind of add like 3 versions of this. So maybe we can do something like this. We'll copy and paste it and we'll bring this one over here and maybe resize this one to be a little bit bigger. I do want this bottom one to be a smidge bigger though. So we'll do something like this. And we'll go ahead and change out the images. Fantastic. And then with the strip selected, what I want to do is send it to the top, just so it's aligned with everything. Now I do want to kind of move this over a little bit more, and we'll resize everything in just a minute, but I want to kind of grab these images. I want to make this one maybe a little bit smaller, and we'll kind of push it over here to the right, because in the middle here, I want to add text. So down here, what I want to do is add another strip. We'll go ahead and make this one pretty tall, and we'll remove the background color. And inside this, what I want to do is add some text. So we'll come over here to text. We'll grab heading 1 because you're going to want to have one heading 1 per page. And what I'm going to do is just paste in the text from the other page. Now, what I did was made the font enter black. I made the font size about 132, and I made the color this red right here. And I think that looks really good. I'm gonna make sure that this font is centered inside of this strip. Then what I want to do is copy this. We'll bring it over here for now. And instead of all of this text, I did an ampersand signed. We are going to make this one black. And then let's just play around with sizes. Let's do like 220. I think that looks good. And we'll bring this right about here. And we can even send this one to the back, just so it's kind of behind this other text element. But I do want to raise it up a little bit more. And maybe we can make this about 240 in size, just to be a little bit bigger. Just so it looks like that, and I think that looks pretty good. Now right here, what I want to do is add kind of some buttons. So what I want to do is add some text. I'm just gonna do a heading 5. Now for this text, what I want to say is view menu. We're gonna underline the text and we're gonna change the font to intermediate. But we're gonna lower the size down to like 18, just like that. If we want to, we could center the text and we'll just bring it in quite a bit. Perfect. And we're gonna move this text right here to kind of be in line with the venue text. Then we're going to copy and paste it. We're going to move this one over here to the side. We can expand this one a little bit because for this one I want to say daily specials. And this is basically going to act like as a button to different pages on the website, but I kind of want this to stand out a little bit more. So what I want to do is come over to add. We'll come to decorative. In more basic shapes, what we're going to do is look up for star. And then we're going to switch this over to vector art. And then inside of this, we're going to choose this little stars element right here. And we're going to move this one to be right here. But I want to change the color of this design to our red. Then let's go back into the shapes here. Once again, we're going to switch this over to vector art and search star. And I'm going to grab this one right here. And I'm going to move this one to near the ampersand sign. And we're going to make the size just a little bit bigger. And I think that looks really cool. So now that we are done, we can go ahead and bump this up above this text. And we can kind of see that the images are looking really big here and they're kind of crossing over. So at least for this desktop size, I kind of want to resize these a little bit. And kind of reposition them as well. Now, when you're stacking strips like I am in this video, you can't grab things that are underneath the other strips, so that's kind of annoying. So two ways you can do it is one, you can go in the layers panel and try to find it this way. However, this is not very intuitive because the bottom strip is the one that's on top. And then like these other strips are the ones that are kind of underneath. So it's not very intuitive. But what I'm doing is clicking the section itself. And then when I'm highlighting, it allows me to select just about anything on the page. So what I'm gonna do is just select this one and I'm gonna bring it down over here. I think that looks good. Now I want to move this one, so I'm going to grab the section itself. And for some reason it's not letting me choose it, so we've got to use the layers panel. I guess old reliable in this case. So we're going to grab this image here and I'm going to bump it over just like that. And I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to bump it over even more. So here is the hero section. I'm going to grab the section itself and set the height to 0, and that's going to shrink it down to its minimum value, which its minimum value is controlled by these strips that we have set up. But now we can go ahead and move on to the next section. So what I actually want to do is add a blank section as a spacer. We're going to set this one to only be like 150 pixels. Again, this is just going to be used as a spacer. Let's just go ahead and copy and paste it so we have two spacers on the top and bottom. And in the middle, let's go ahead and add a brand new section. We'll make it blank. And for this section, let's set the height to 800. Inside of this section, I want to add a strip. Let's send the strip to the top. We'll set the height to match the section. Then we'll remove the background. Now for this strip, I want to add 2 columns. So we're gonna come over to layout and add a column. Now we have 2 areas where we can add content. Over here on the left, I just want to have an image. So we're gonna go down to change background and choose an image. And I'm gonna type in Italian restaurant, and we'll just choose an image just like this. Now, what I want to do is have like a rounded edges for these images. So what I want to do is actually come over to decorative. We'll do more basic shapes. And what I'm gonna do is type in corner. Now we should have elements that look like this. We'll go ahead and add it to the page. We'll put it inside of the strip column, and we'll make the color of it white to kind of match the background. Now, I can't just put it over here because this is not going to be in frame. As you can see, when I move it outside of these grid lines, it's kind of warning me not to put it there. So we actually need to grab this column, go to layout, and send it to the right. So now we can put content over here, but we can't put content on the left side of the grid. So now what I want to do is go ahead and grab this rotation tool, and holding shift, it's going to basically snap it to like 15-degree increments. And now with this, I want to go ahead and send it to the top right, just like that. And we're going to go ahead and copy and paste it. We'll bring this one down, make sure it attaches to this column. Once again, we'll rotate it. Then we'll send this one to the bottom and right. So now we have this really nice rounded edge here. And last but not least, with this background, I want to add a parallax scroll. Perfect. So now this section should look just like this, and I think that looks really cool. Now what I will say is I feel like this height might be a little too big. So what I want to do is move this up a little bit. Then we'll grab the strip and we'll set it to 700. Perfect. And then we'll move this one back down to the bottom. And I think that looks a little bit better, to be completely honest with you, just because I kind of want to look more like a rectangle than a square shape. Now in here, I want to add text. So I'm going to come over to add. We'll do like a heading 2. Let's just copy and paste this, and we'll bring this one down below it. Now for this first one, what I want to do is set the font to Enter semi-bold. We're going to change the text to say food and drinks in all caps. We're going to change the color to our red, and then we're going to change the size to 16. Perfect. Now for this text right here, we're going to use the same font, but then we're going to paste in this text right here. Now I'm not a huge fan of this line spacing, so we're going to come in here and adjust it. I think 1.1 looks really good. And then next, I want to come over here, copy our little view menu button there. We're going to paste it in here and put it right underneath this text element. Fantastic. And last but not least, I want to grab this little decorative element here. In this column, we'll go ahead and paste it. We'll go ahead and make it a little bit smaller, and we'll place it right about there. Then what I want to do is grab these text elements, we'll group them together. We'll make sure it is centered inside of this section. Then we'll grab this vector art and kind of position it a little bit better. So now what I want to do is go ahead and copy this section here. So we can either come over here to more actions and say duplicate, or we can just press Command D. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate it here. I want to move this below our next spacer that we have. Then I want to copy and paste this spacer and make sure it goes beneath the next one. Now for this strip, what I want to do is say manage columns, and we're going to flip the direction of the strip. And that's basically going to make the text on this side and then put the image on this side. Now for this image, let's go ahead and change it out real quick. And you will also notice that the rounded edges are on the wrong side now. So we're going to select the strip, go into layout, and we'll align the content to the left. Now we need to grab these and kind of flip them around. And for this one, we'll go top left. And then for this one, after we rotate it, we'll send this one to the bottom left. And now we just need to change out the text. Then we'll make sure that this text is centered. I don't want to duplicate this one too much, so we'll go ahead and delete this one. But I want to come over here. We'll grab this red one. We'll bring it down here and paste it in. I do want this one to be a little bit bigger, and we can even rotate it if we want to. And I'll go ahead and put it like right about here. Now you'll notice I did put it over the grid line a little bit, and that's perfectly fine for decorative things. It's more important to make sure that our content is always in the grid lines, but we can have our decorative elements kind of go outside a little bit, because even on smaller screens, if the decoration goes off screen a bit, that is perfectly okay, especially if it looks like it's a purposeful decision. But the next section that we are going to add is just going to be a slideshow of different images. So we're going to add a blank section. In this section, we want to add a gallery. So we'll come over to add gallery. We'll come over to slider galleries, and we'll choose this spheres one. And we'll just drag this one out. Now I want this to stretch the full width of the screen, so we'll go ahead and stretch it. Then we can change out the images real quick. Perfect. In the design settings for this, however, I don't want there to be a border, I don't want there to be text, and then on hover, I don't want there to be any opacity. And also in the settings, we want to make sure that this is on a loop. We have the speed set. When an image is clicked, I don't want anything to actually happen. This is just kind of going to be a showcase of different foods that you guys have. Now, if you have a database with all of your menu items, then you could link this to your database and maybe have dynamic pages for each one of your dishes. And so what you could do is link each one of these images to those dynamic pages, but we're not going to set that up in today's video. If you guys are interested in seeing something like that, let me know, and maybe I'll do something like that in a future video. But for now, what I want to do is just duplicate this spacer, and I'm going to send it underneath our image. And the last section that we're going to have on our website is like a call to action to create a reservation. So what I want to do is first set this to be 900 pixels for now, just to give us some more room to work with. Inside of this, I want to add a strip. So go ahead and just add a strip right here. In the stretched settings, what I want to do is bring in the margins as much as possible. For the background of the strip, I want to change this to an image. And I'm just going to make it a pasta dish. We'll choose this one right here. And then in the design settings, I want to change the background color to that red, and we'll lower the opacity to like 10%. And just for fun, we'll also add parallax. Now, I do want this to be kind of tall, so maybe we'll set this to like 600 pixels in height. Now, what I want to do is kind of match the rounded edges that we have for these images up here. So in order to do that, we have to get a little bit creative. So what I want to do is inside the strip, I want to add a strip. I want to remove the background color completely. And what I want to do is align the content to the left so we can put content over here. Now, what I want to do is first start by grabbing this rounded edge corner thing that we have above, and we'll paste it in here. And we'll just go ahead and for now, send it to the top left. I'm going to copy and paste this element. If you don't see it on your screen, you can always use the align tools to bring it into view for you. Because sometimes when you do paste things, it moves it out of view, but it is still there. It's just not visible. Now for now, I'm just going to align this one to the left, and I'm going to change the height of the strip just for now. This is not how it's going to look forever, but what I want to do is grab the strip, we'll copy it, select this strip, and we'll paste it. So now we have two of the same strip. Now for this one, if we go into layout, we want to align the content to the right. Now of course we need to flip these over, and we'll send this one to the right, make sure it's at the top. Then for this one, once again, we'll rotate it, and we'll send this one to the right as well. Now for these, what I want to do is, let's look at the size of the strip. We set it to 600. So with this strip, we're going to send it to the top, and we'll set this one to 600. Then we'll grab this element here, and we'll send this one to the left and bottom. Then we'll grab this strip, we'll send this one to the top, we'll set the height to 600. Then we'll grab this last corner over here, make sure it's at the right and bottom. So now we have this rounded edge here. However, this one doesn't look like it is done correctly. And that is because the rotation was not exact, and now it is fixed. Perfect. So now inside of this, what I want to do is add one more strip. We'll make sure this strip is centered, and we'll go ahead and remove the background color. Now inside of this strip, what I want to do is add a form. You can add a form if you want to. This is a perfectly viable option. However, just for fun, it'd be cool if we create our own. So I'm going to come over to input. Now, if you do not see input for yourself, you can come over to dev mode and turn this on. This will give you access to advanced features, somewhat like these inputs right here. What I want to do is come over to drop downs, and we'll choose this one right here. Now for the design, all I really want to change with this is the font. We'll go ahead and change this to our Enter semi-bold, and we'll raise up the size to like 16. Fantastic. Then in these settings, instead of it selecting an item as the first option, I want to do placeholder text. And what I want to do is make it a date. So we want people to create a reservation. We're going to set the width to 200 and the height to 50. Then we're going to copy and paste this. We'll bring it next to the other one. And then using our shift and right arrow key 2 times, that's going to give us 20 pixels of spacing. Then we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to change the placeholder text to time. Then we're going to copy and paste it one more time. We're going to bring this one right here. And again, using the shift and right arrow keys, give ourselves 20 pixels of spacing. For this one, let's give us a party size so people can select how many people they want to reserve seating for. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and add a button. Now, I just want to choose like this basic button right here. I want to change the width to match the input. So we'll set the width to 200 and the height to 50. Then in the design settings, I don't want there to be a fill. For the border, I want it to be 1 pixel. Maybe we can even do it 2. And we'll make sure we set the color to white. For the corners, I want to match this one down here. So I think the radius was 5 or 6. Then for the text, we'll change the font to Enter Semi-Bold, 16 pixels in size, and we'll change the color to white. So now we should have something that looks like this. We'll go ahead and place it right next to the party size, and using the Shift and arrow key, we'll give it 20 pixels of spacing. Then we'll grab all 4 of these elements and we'll put them together. I want to move it down a little bit for now. And what I want to do is grab one of these elements, one of these text elements here. We'll come down into the strip and paste it in. I want to give us a little bit more room to work with. So we'll go ahead and bring out the space. We'll center it. We'll change the text to white. We'll align the text to the center. And just for fun, maybe we'll raise up the size a little bit as well. And we'll say make a reservation today. And just for fun, we'll also grab another one of these text elements. We'll paste it in here. Make it a little bit wider. We'll align the text to the center. We'll change it to white. And we'll center it. And last but not least, we can maybe lower the size to like 24. And now we just kind of need to position these to make it look a little bit nicer. And once that is done, we'll bring this section up a little bit. And if we scroll all the way up to the top of the website, here would be the new Sam's Restaurant website. And I think that looks really, really cool. But that's basically gonna wrap it up for today's video. If you all did enjoy, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more Wix and EditorX content coming out really soon. Thank you all again, and I'll see you on the next one.